I'm wondering if we might consider removing that layer of hoppers. We really don't need them. They haven't proven to be useful, and also we can use those elsewhere to create our items. Welcome to the Ice Realms, Capricorn. It took about a minute to get here. Wow, didn't suffocate that time. Okay, so we have our item elevator right here. Our drops are going to come out here and go up the item elevator. Hang on. Now the drops will come out here. Now they will. They'll go in here. They'll go up the item elevator. Now I have to decide how exactly I want to set this up. I had a few ideas, but I've been a little stuck. I'm going to cover all this up. This is going to be covered with an aesthetic design that we're going to work on next. But I do want this to be visible, and I do want this to be visible. That means that our landing pad is going to be here somewhere, because I'm going to create landing pads around this area, meaning that there's going to be no, like, walking across the ground level here. Wherever we put the storage cellar, it's going to be exposed. So this is what I have decided. This item sorter is very similar to others in this world. This line of cobblestone represents the line of chests. There will be 2 chests for each drop: fish, prismarine shards, and prismarine crystals. And then those will come down the side, so that way we'll have both of these things in viewing, and these will just come down all the way to somewhere. I think this should be a little fun. Oh, there he is. Will this work? No. I kind of cheated, but I still won. Oh, shit. it is time for the beautiful moment of truth. Wait, what? Let's try this again. Nope, go up. Why is this not working? Oh, that didn't help. Alright, this should work. There is always something that just will not work. Oh, perfection is just unachievable, isn't it? Finally, I got it right. So, here's what happens. You drop down to here, come in here, and this is where the guardians will enter. By the way, there's our elder guardians, if you remember, a few sessions ago when we drained the monument. Actually, at this point feels like it was several months ago now. I have them stored in there for right now. We're going to figure out what to do with them later, but all three of them are in there nice and safe. When you come out of Aftermath, you just jump straight down and you hit the poison potion and shoot something. And the idea is that will work. Hey there, little guy. What are you up to today? Right here, we're gonna have to put in a dispenser on each side, I believe. One will shoot out flint and steel to turn the portal on. One will shoot out water to turn the portal off. One dispenser here. Okay. And then this one will have the flint and steel to light the portal. And then our other dispenser will be over here. This one will have the water that we do not have. I've set up two towers here, one to activate this dispenser and then one to activate this one. And the way that they need to work is we're going to have it activated by pressure plate, right? So when you hit the pressure plate, it's going to, what it needs to do is it needs to send a pulse, and I think just one pulse to this one to activate the flint and steel. But then it needs to send, so that'll be easy, but then it needs to, when the pressure plate is released, it needs to set off this tower to 2 pulses to dispense the water and then remove it. When we step on it, the flint and steel activates, but at the same time, this pillar prepares to activate, so that when we step off, this pillar gets 2 pulses sent to it, which will deactivate the portal. So that's how we need to set this circuit up. So I have the 4 plates installed here, and I built a little pathway under, had to circumvent the water here, over to here. Now the reason why I put it over here, okay, it's because here's my plan for this. I want to be able, and the reason I chose wooden pressure plates also is because you can actually use items to hold them down. So I want to be able to throw the items onto these plates from wherever I am, whether it's from up here on, well, because I'm going to build a little landing pad right up here where the storage is and viewing. This is where the landing pad will be. And this will be accessible through a drop that I'll make right off of the top of the farm. And that's the other thing, is I want to be able to throw items down from the top of the farm. So if I'm up there and I want to, get some XP without having to come down here, because, if I can just throw an item off the edge, right, and then wait 5 minutes for the item to despawn, I don't ever have to come down here. Once we hit that initial pulse, we need to activate an RS NOR latch, I believe, which will allow this to prepare to activate, meaning that we don't want it to activate until this signal is off, but we don't want it to be able to activate until the signal is on. by having a repeater right there, instead of redstone, it becomes dependent. Meaning that it won't hold on to its state when it's reactivated. So if this is the default state, because remember, all we need is 2 pulses. We only needed to create 2 pulses. So if right now it's activated, right? So if we attach this up there now, it's not going to, well, it'll activate once, but then it won't make any pulses. Meaning that if we do this, it's not going to make another pulse. That will make 1 pulse. So then we have to figure out how to create 2 from that. So I've designed a little monostable circuit here, and we only need it to activate for a long enough time to create only 2 pulses, no more, no less. So, like that. Because otherwise it'll create too many and burn out. We don't want that. If we activate it, it does not create a pulse. If we deactivate it, it creates a pulse. That's what we want. Now we have to create a small clock off of the RS NOR latch that will only keep it active, this active, for 2 ticks, no longer. Getting there. Do you hear that? That, my friends, is the sound of success. So let me show you what I ended up doing. First of all, I replaced the old monostable circuit with a much simpler and more convenient one. And what happens is, when this pulse goes through and activates this, simultaneously it activates a wire down here, which reactivates this RS NOR latch for a split second, as noted by this repeater here. Because, so this repeater turns the RS NOR latch back on. This repeater turns it back off. So I'll show you what I mean. So this will turn it on, right? When we deactivate, you'll notice that this repeater acted as this repeater by turning it back on enough so that it would send another pulse. And this one here turned it off. This in turn creates 2 pulses to send up the tower to the dispenser so that it will dispense the water and then retract the water. Alright, here's the moment of truth. Okay. Oh yes, that's right, I have to put this back. Now, for the real moment of truth. 1, 2. Perfect! Not perfect. Thankfully, it looks like a relatively easy fix. If we just put signs here, like so, this should be enough to keep the water from going anywhere. Because we can actually go ahead and test this out by just putting the water here. Yeah, okay. So that should work. Another thing we should address while we are here. I noticed that some of the Guardians are actually taking damage from jumping off here and landing here. So, what that does is it causes some Guardians to burn up prematurely, so their drops are therefore lost. To fix this, we're going to add the same layer that we did here to prevent them from jumping off like maniacs. Additionally, I'm wondering if it would be helpful to cover this top layer with glass, maybe? To prevent them from jumping that high, like that. Because we don't want them to jump very high. Because we don't want them to take damage from getting here. We don't want them to be able to take damage. So hopefully, I mean, that should be good enough to prevent that. My hope is that all of them go through the portal and none of them are able to pass through. I do believe that since we added that layer of slabs, it will stabilize the guardians enough so that way they all will go through the portal. And that's very helpful for me. So I'm going to wait this out. That item's going to despawn, and then we're going to head to the other side and see what we get. Aha! So, they are dying, but they don't start dying until I enter the nether. I didn't know they dropped pufferfish. Oh, it could just be from human intervention that they drop pufferfish. Okay, well that's very good to know. And I also saw squid in there. We got a squid even. The only thing is it will provide raw fish, not cooked fish, so I want to try and find a way around that. You know what? I just realized I don't even have a watermelon to make potions of harming. Although, can't I corrupt these to make potions of harming? Doesn't look like I can. But it looks like I can do it with a potion of poison. Let us try another run. It is nice, isn't it? Especially to watch the sunset. Majestic, isn't it? In terms of aesthetics, there's going to be two phases to this. First, we need to fix these texturing errors. I want to replace all of this prismarine brick with this dark prismarine. Also, you can see where I ran out right in the top trim there. I need to remove all this dirt, that kind of thing, and finishing the look of that up. Second part of this aesthetic project is hiding all of this. I'm going to create another giant cube, similarly to this. It's just going to be a little smaller, and it's going to enclose all of this. Also, I'm going to have to create some kind of cover over top of this as well. So, all of this is going to be covered up. We need to cover up this redstone in case this water leaches out. I know that I should not leave this unattended like this, but unfortunately I'm out of dark prismarine. Okay, time for part 2. So this is what I want, to be able to view this and also this. These are going to come down here and they're going to rest on another sort of platform here. And I built this now because I want to see, I need to block this off. So I'm going to create a wall here, a wall right here. There's going to be probably a wall here somewhere. So why don't we start with this actually. I want to remove that layer of glass there. This is what I'm going for. Last step is covering up this little guy, and I think we'll be all finished. This here is bugging me. So I actually want to put the perimeter right here. So what I'm going to have to do is remove this water so that way I can safely do that. This is where I want to put it. I want to put it here, and it's going to enclose this because I would like this to be visible so that way we can monitor the items going through the system. Okay, but I do not want any of this over here. So really we're just trying to hide this little bit of things right here. Okay, so now all we're going to do, okay, yeah, it'll come down to here, and then it'll fold back that way. And that'll be it. Something kind of like this. So check this out. This is just an aesthetic that I kind of came up with on the spot, kind of using the glass panes to look like little tubes. And it kind of mixes in well with the theme here. We've got kind of a lot of like tubes kind of running all around the place, transporting items and sort of that kind of thing. So I actually really like how it looks. The tubes anyway. I don't know about the rest of this. I mean, I can probably play around with these designs a little bit, but to be honest with you, I'm not very concerned about it a whole lot right now. I just want to get something in here. And besides, I mean, we're still in a construction phase. We're still kind of working out all the kinks, but I think this is coming along very nicely so far. We've even utilized the way that these react now to create little supports here. Well, I think that about wraps up this session. I mean, there is a bit of work to do yet, and there are still some things that we can do to improve the efficiency of this farm, but that's all stuff we're going to continue to do until I decide that it's complete. But the project is coming along very nicely, though I still can't help but feel like I'm missing some kind of satisfaction from it. You know, I mean, looking at this project, there's a lot we've done since we got here at Stonewall, but I still just feel a little bit empty inside. It could be because ultimately this is really going to amount to nothing in the big scheme of things, or perhaps it has to do with what it represents, or I don't know. Time will tell exactly how this project will pan out, and what it will mean for the future of Quintropolis as a whole. I still have a few cooler tricks up my sleeve that will elevate the way we navigate after.